Forget what Hollywood told you. Before medieval Europe had warrior queens, before Joan of Arc, before Cleopatra became a global icon, an African queen led an army against the Roman Empire and won. Not only did she fight Rome, she forced them into a peace treaty. Her name? Amanirenas. And Rome never forgot her. This is Fast African Facts. Around 25 BCE, the Roman Empire was expanding aggressively across North Africa. The emperor at the time, Augustus. Rome had just taken control of Egypt after defeating Cleopatra and Mark Antony. South of Egypt was a powerful African kingdom many people today barely talk about, the Kingdom of Kush. Located in what is now modern-day Sudan, Kush had wealth, gold, iron production, and a powerful military culture. Its capital. And its ruler was not a king, but was a queen. Amanirenas was a Kandek, a title given to ruling queens of Kush, and she was not symbolic. She was a battlefield commander. Historical records describe her as fierce, strategic, and fearless. Roman historian Strabo even noted that she had lost one eye in battle. Let that sink in. She fought on the front lines. This was not ceremonial leadership. This was war. When Rome began imposing heavy taxes and expanding southward, Kush resisted. Instead of waiting to be invaded, Amanirenas attacked first. Around 24 BCE, Kushite forces invaded Roman-controlled Egypt. They captured cities like Aswan. And here's the part most history books skip. They destroyed Roman statues, including statues of Emperor Augustus. One famous bronze head of Augustus was buried beneath a temple staircase in Kush. Symbolism matters. Every person walking into that temple would step on Rome's emperor. That was a message. Rome retaliated. They sent troops south. But Kush did not collapse. The fighting lasted years. And despite Rome's military dominance elsewhere in the world, they could not fully conquer Kush. Eventually, negotiations began. In 21 BCE, something extraordinary happened. Rome agreed to peace, and the terms favored Kush. No tribute payments. No heavy taxation. Roman troops withdrew from certain territories. This was not a surrender. It was a negotiated settlement between equals. Think about that. At a time when Rome was crushing kingdoms across Europe and the Middle East, an African queen forced them to compromise. The Kingdom of Kush remained independent for centuries after. Rome never fully subdued them. So why don't we hear about Amanirenas the way we hear about Cleopatra? Several reasons. 1. Much of Kushite history was not preserved in European historical narratives. 2. Roman historians minimized defeats. 3. Colonial-era education systems focus heavily on Greco-Roman history. But archaeology tells a different story. The bronze head of Augustus found in Sudan is real. The temples of Meroë still stand. The pyramids of Sudan, yes, Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt still exist. And they belong to Kush. Africa was not isolated. Africa was not passive. Africa negotiated with empires. And sometimes, Africa won. Here are some fast African facts. Kush ruled parts of Egypt before this war. Kandake queens often ruled independently. Sudan has over 200 pyramids. The peace treaty between Kush and Rome lasted decades. Amanirenas is one of the few recorded women to successfully challenge Rome militarily. This is not mythology. This is documented history. The story of Amanirenas reminds us of something powerful. Africa's past is deeper, stronger, and more complex than many of us were taught. Empires rose and fell, but Kush stood its ground. And at the center of that resistance was a one-eyed queen who refused to bow to Rome. Not every empire wins, not every queen is remembered. But some leave footprints that history can never erase. If you enjoy discovering the untold stories of Africa, if you want more powerful, fast, and factual African history, subscribe to Fast African Facts, because Africa's real story is just getting started. And we're bringing it back one fact at a time.